So good to see you, Martha.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. Hey, let's start off by introducing ourselves.
Okay, I'm Martha Fetner. I work for Moody's Analytics these days. 20 years with JP Morgan in North America, Asia, and Australia. Then I moved back to Australia in 2003 to get a life, where I work for Commonwealth Bank of Australia, running their private equity business, which I've done at JP Morgan for a while, and the Risk Business School when I decided I'd really get a life. And then I joined Moody's. So that's what I'm doing. What are you doing?
Oh gosh, I've been working for Alvarez and Marsal, doing the same thing, advising boards, corporations, and stakeholders. But I, investigate, monitor, oversee things, do expert testimony on financial insolvency and valuation issues. But my sweet spot. I really love doing the fiduciary kind of stuff. With chapters and the Chapter 11 trustees and litigation trustees. But before that, I was with FTI Consulting and also worked at Con Consulting and their affiliate, Ferry Hudson in Sydney, Australia, where you and I met. And then I spent some years at Ernst & Young in their London and New York offices. And then I don't want to be remiss in talking about our third founder, Linda Melnick, right?
Yep.
She passed away a few years ago. But she was working at Rogers and Wells at the time, and she spent 30 years just trying to harmonize the international laws. And that was her second career. As you know, her first career was really about focusing on organizations and philanthropy with nonprofits where women's interests were at their core. Yeah, how did it all begin?
Yeah, we met. So I'd known Celinda in New York. You and I met in Sydney in like 1991 in the depression they had to have. I'd been sent down by JP Morgan. You were working with the best insolvency firm here in Australia. And let's just say JP Morgan had a couple of problem assets. It was back in the dark ages, and finding another woman in restructuring was kind of like finding a pink diamond.
Yeah, I know. There's so few of us back then. And whenever I found somebody like yourself, I'd be like, oh, immediate kinship. I just want to be around them, like somebody I can talk to about, what it's like to be a sole leader in an organization that was female. So.
Yep. And it was kind of funny because, well, we figured out that we both knew Celinda, and we covered the three key parts of the insolvency industry. We had the banker, the lawyer, and the financial advisor, the financial expert. And that was very unique. And it was something that even the men on Wall Street at that point, the men in the industry, didn't understand, was the triumvirate of how you support a strong restructuring and insolvency industry.
Yeah. I think we hit on something. We can bring the three disciplines together. And so, when you and I finally got back to New York, we sat down for drinks with Celinda, and over many drinks, many of wine, we said, hey, let's try and build something that we could, globally. We had lived overseas. We wanted to connect senior women leaders around the world, so they weren't just all alone, right? And we tossed around names, and we came up with IWIRC because we wanted something memorable, easy to say, and it stuck. Thank goodness.
Yep. So. Yeah, and I can remember drawing the logo.
Yes, right. The world.
Yeah. The first few years we set up, IWIRC was a nonprofit. We had to actually set up, I don't know about you, but I'd never started a business before, and we learned how to start a business. I have a lot of respect for entrepreneurs now. The goal was to connect and promote women in insolvency and restructuring worldwide, and to ensure their success. Our firms actually supported us by giving us funding as well as the time necessary to start IWIRC. And I got a lot of respect for the fact that they did that back in 1993, 94. It was not typical. We had our first meeting. It was in London in June 1994, just before the IBA's Insolvency, Restructuring, and Creditors' Rights Committee meeting.
Yeah. And then we had our second one, you might
Yeah.
remember, in Toronto, right? And that
Yeah.
was in October 1994. And we had like New Orleans and then Paris and Hong Kong. And, I think that the vision we had at the time was, let's attach ourselves to one of the main conferences with the established organizations. Let's demonstrate that we're complementary, not a substitute.
Yes.
And
And not in competition.
not a competition. Thank God we did that, because that got us recognized really quickly. And then each of those organizations, you might remember, said, oh, are you going to throw something before mine? I want your members here. So,
Yes.
that was really terrific. And, one of the things that we did was we got all these folks together, and then they knew a group of women. We gave them a good tool set, and then they go into the main conference, and it made them much more successful.
Well, and we also began providing speakers for these main conferences. Let's be quite frank, their speaker panels, all male, all day, all week. And we were able to supply to them high quality, local and international female speakers to give a different view, as well as for the International Bar, for instance, for Committee J, I would speak as a banker. They'd never had a banker on a panel before. We gave really different perspective, and they respected that and they embraced that. And again, kudos to them. Let me see. We had our directory. Yes, our first directory, which I did when I was taking some time off from JP Morgan. I photocopied everything. They were sent to me in the mail and by email, because this was back when there was faxes. Not everyone had a cell phone. It was a paper LinkedIn, and we had about 200 members from around the globe. Provided everyone with a way to locate someone in a different jurisdiction which could help them. And there was nothing like that. Committee J didn't have a directory. No one else did. We did. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And people did reach out, right? When they went to another location, they would look somebody up. It was great.
Yep.
So, once we put that umbrella organization together, our second was, okay, now we got to do local chapters and networks to ensure that we have future leaders, right? We didn't want to connect just the leaders. We need to develop people locally and have a succession plan. And I'd say, even following that, after we established all these chapters, which came fast and furious again, because people like, oh, I want to establish a network here. Then we had to really think about our succession. And I really am so pleased with the fact that we focused on that it wasn't immediate, but it was at a natural position. We installed a new board, we supported the new board, and created a framework that people would get voted in and give other leadership positions and committees. So many people got involved, and we weren't as needed, really, at the end of the day. That was the goal, right? At the end of the day. So that was fantastic. And then finally, we got some professional help like Sherry Fetner to help us. So.
Yes, thank goodness. Well, as founders, we recognized we had a mission for our organization, and we didn't stick around past the time that we should have. We moved on, and others took on, because in fact, that was part of the mission of the organization that we set up. And I'm very happy that we did that. Today, IWIRC has over 2,100 members around the world, 45 networks, again, around the world, every continent except for Antarctica. And we have both women and men, and they're in the bankruptcy field, be they bankers, lawyers, accountants, advisors, whatever. And they're an excellent resource for referrals, career guidance, practice expertise, all those things that we originally envisioned. I think the organization is meeting them. I'm very, very happy. I'm very proud, very proud. When my daughter asked me what I've done in my life, IWIRC is one of the things, is the first thing besides her.
Yeah, good answer. Me too. It's funny because when they asked us to put this together, they said, did we expect that we would be here 30 years later? Now, first of all, 30 years is a long time. So,
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm just happy to be here. Yeah. So, but when I think about it, I say yes and no. So yes, I knew that this was going to take off when we filled that void, when so much enthusiasm came, and, I'm just so pleased that so many benefits have come from this organization. And listen, I'm just so thankful, Martha, to you and Celinda for being in my life at that point, because, it was a pivotal time in my career. I think it really
Mine too.
impacted my trajectory. So, so I'm very, very thankful for that. And so thank you. But part of me hoped that this would be a little bit further along. Restructuring still struggles with ensuring women's success more broadly. And, I try and pursue the goals of IWIRC in other avenues, like for instance, in my firm, I'm very involved in developing what they call Empower Me series, which are actionable steps given to both men and women on leadership and influence and business development in short snippets of videos and discussion groups. I formed a women's leadership connection to help marry cross-divisional of our clients, female clients. But it's interesting, even the American College of Bankruptcy held a session, which I helped set up through a women's leadership initiative, to talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, barring off a recent committee they formed. So it's still a very hot topic.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you always have Tina's Wish, which is formed after a bankruptcy judge to develop a test for ovarian cancer. So we need education. And so education can be given to the IWIRC members as well. So there's so much more to do, as that's kind of saying. So how about you, Martha? What do you think?
So my career took a little bit different turn. I got out of insolvency and into regular banking. Now, what do I do? Well, yes, I always try to support women, but most of my focus these days is around helping bankers become better bankers. That's actually my job at Moody's. And I truly believe a good banker can help a company be successful, help a community be strong. A bad banker destroys things. And that's something I don't want to have happen, because I've seen the impact of that in case after case, community after community, in fact, country after country. So that's where I'm focusing. The other way I'm paying forward is I'm involved in my daughter's school, has a school within a school for First Nations, Indigenous people here in Australia. It's 100% scholarship. I'm on the foundation, which supports that. Their junior school wing was recently voted the best school in Australia, not the best junior school, not the best private school, but the best school, which given the history of treatment of Indigenous people here in Australia, North America, other places, I'm really proud of that. I'm very fortunate to be associated with that organization as well as IWIRC. So that's what I'm doing these days, and trying to get ready to head back to the US. What are your plans coming up?
Yeah. I'm just thinking, what's my hope for the future of IWIRC, really, at the end of the day, going around and back. So, I just think back to all of our long hours and kicking off things. And, my hope is that professionals listen to this and become motivated to do something themselves, whether it's get active in IWIRC or pursue other goals, with other like-minded women, and just take the initiative and kind of set their own career path. And I still do see many, many benefits of people joining IWIRC. I continue to support the organization through my firm at both, the international level and the local level, and encourage my staff to be involved. But I think there's so much opportunity there, and just get involved. How about you? What are your hope for things?
Well, when I head back to the States in about a year, it's been 25 years since I've lived there. So a long time. I look forward to getting my second career off to college, out of the house, maybe cutting back my time a bit with Moody's, and doing more volunteer work. Hopefully IWIRC will have something for me to do. I really look forward to attending a couple of conferences. I haven't been able to attend a conference. It's been at least 15 years. And actually probably closer to 20. So I really hope I can attend some conferences. And no matter what I do, we are incredibly fortunate people. IWIRC has helped us all, but the reality is that just generally we are all very, very fortunate people. And I hope that I can give back to society and my community in some way. And, you know, to me, that's the most important thing. It's great to connect. It's great to be successful in business, but giving back when you're successful,
Is important.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's important. There's nothing better than that. We're very fortunate people.